Welcome back to Out of the Blue, the podcast, where real people share extraordinary stories of resilience, transformation, and gratitude. I'm your host, Vernon West, joined today by my son and co host, Vernon West III, a gifted musician and creative visionary who brings his own spark to these conversations about resilience, redemption, and the power of truth. Today's guest joins us from halfway around the world, Dr. Michelle Nemec, an unstoppable changemaker from Australia whose work is transforming lives across continents. Michelle is a keynote speaker, author, and educator with a passion for emotional intelligence and human potential. She holds 6 degrees, yes, 6, including a PhD that explored how emotional literacy impacts the well being of communities and organizations. Her story is one of endless curiosity and courageous reinvention. From the classroom to the courtroom, from boardrooms to mountain trails, she continues to challenge limits and expand perspectives. Michelle has trekked the Himalayas, run marathons, and even swum around the Greek islands, all while championing the power of mindset, self awareness, and purpose. She reminds us that change isn't something that happens to us, it's something we can choose with courage, heart, and emotional wisdom. Dr. Michelle Nemec, welcome to Out of the Blue, the podcast.
Why, thank you, Vernon. That was some introduction, and thank you for reminding me of who I am.
It's always nice.
Yeah, no, thank you for that.
Well, one of my guests told me I should start a little cottage industry and write introductions for people and just call them up and say that to them
Thank
to cheer their
you.
day up.
I do feel honoured and look to connect with you over in Boston is fortuitous because, as I said to you, I was there in December of last year, and I can honestly say the people in Boston are the friendliest and most helpful I have ever encountered anywhere around the world.
Well,
Within
that's
half an
wonderful.
hour, yeah, within half an hour of my arrival, I was seeking adapters, as you do when you travel and realize the ones you've got aren't right. So I went to two shops, and one young man actually offered to accompany me on the bus to a mega store and walked with me to the bus stop. I assured him I could get on a bus, but I found that extraordinary that he was prepared to do that. He did get approval, of course, before he left his workplace, but that was just a small sample of the beginning of what was an exceptional visit.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. So anyway, we like to start somewhere at the beginning. I mean, you have those 6 degrees and all that stuff is pretty impressive. When you were young and before you started all this, what happened? What brought it on? This amazing
Uh,
curiosity and drive you
Look,
have.
I've always been a high achiever and I've always been driven, and it is in my DNA. So it's not something I necessarily believed that would ever happen or foresaw coming. All I can say is I have a passion for learning, and I have a fairly strong intellect and a fairly strong capacity, obviously, to do things. I swore after the PhD, which was degree number 4, that I was all done. That was it, all done. So I did travel the world solo. I did 2 around the world trips. And then I went back into education. And looked, I love the core business, which is engaging with people, but I got very, let's say, underwhelmed with the compliance and the all of the excesses. And then I just decided I want to study law. And this actually was something in 1990 that was in my psyche. I had decided I wanted to study law, do an MBA, and run a marathon. So, as fate would have it, I was accepted to receive a government scholarship and was working with someone. This is how things happen, Vernon. I was working with someone who was studying law, and she said, look, just fill out this form and you'll get government funding. If it wasn't for her, I would never have studied law.
That's
I also
beautiful.
wanted, yeah, I also wanted to do the MBA and got a scholarship for women in leadership. And it was easy because I got a lot of credit for previous study, got a lot of it paid for. and was able to actually do that while studying law. And then the marathon, I only ever wanted to do New York. And it was the fifth, and it is the final marathon I've done.
Did you do the Boston Marathon?
No, I didn't. I think for Boston, you have to qualify, and I'm definitely not really a marathon runner. I'm someone that can do it, but not for speed, not
Right? You can do it. That's pretty
I can
cool.
do it, but there's a few reasons why I'm not really suited to marathon running. And it's more for me about go in it, complete it, enjoy the experience, and take from it what you will on that level. I've never been concerned about the time
Right,
because
right.
my time is slow.
But
Yeah.
26 something miles, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
42.1
just getting it
kilometers.
done is impressive.
Are you kilometers?
Yeah,
You're converting it to kilometers just then. Were you
yeah,
just doing
that's
that?
what
Yeah.
that's yeah, 42.1. I think it's what, 26 miles,
Yes,
26
in
Mhm.
miles, right.
But by far the most incredible one was New York, with their enthusiasm and turning it into just a huge party. And look, I was going so slowly, but I did have a top that said Wonder Woman Australia. And so they were calling out, Wonder Woman, I see you. You got this.
All
I
right.
see you sitting on up there. And it
That's
made
nice.
me,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, no, it's pretty sensational. And there's no way you could start that event and not finish because of the absolute sheer enthusiasm of the people on the sideline. You'd feel like you were letting them down, let alone yourself.
I imagine that would be a big part of it, right? The enthusiasm of the art, the people. Kind of,
I had been told that, Vernon, but until you actually experience it, it is like nothing else on the planet.
yeah, and you're doubling, this is doubling my understanding of it. It's very, almost tangible, apparently.
Yeah, no, it was very visceral. But at one point, the people were partying so much they were actually on the course. I think, there'd been a bit too much partying in some respects.
Yeah,
But I thought,
I
I
bet.
need to get, like, it is quite intense. They've got drums and it's very loud. And when your body's screaming, it's like, oh, this is a lot. But it was fantastic.
And the out of the blue universe, we look at things that happen out of the blue. Now, you just mentioned
Yeah.
how that lady, if she hadn't said to you about the law, you wouldn't have done
Oh,
that.
no,
That
it's extraordinary. And
that's out
I've
of the
been
blue. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the time you don't realize it. I
No.
mean, I did realize soon after when I got in and I went back and thanked her, but I had something very similar happen when I was stuck doing a PhD. And the supervisors, well, that's a whole political game on its own. But I basically was at the critical point and was on the critical point for a year. And I literally didn't know how or what I needed to do. And again, I met someone, happened to be again a colleague, and I sat down with her and had lunch because she had recently done a PhD. I'm not lying, Vernon. In 30 minutes, I learnt more from her than I had in the previous 3 years. And
Whoa.
I ended the lunch and I said, thank you. I now understand what I need to do. And I went and did it.
Now, what was that PhD in?
It was educational psychology, drawing on three key themes, if you like, leadership, learning, and social capital, but utilizing emotional intelligence theory as well as positive psychology. So it actually brought together a lot of different areas that I was interested in.
Emotional intelligence. I'd like to hear. Tell me more about that. What is emotional? I have an idea, but I want to hear what you say.
Yeah, look, Goleman kind of popularized it. So Daniel Goleman, I'm referring to. It is really about regulating your own emotions, understanding what the social skills are. And one of those many, of course, is resilience. And there's a whole set of skills around that. Managing your emotions, being aware of how you affect others and how others affect you. And in my studies, it was also looking at how this impacts on well-being, and in turn, in an educational setting, how teachers' well-being impacts on the experience of students' schooling.
So basically, teachers' emotional intelligence affects what they can teach, basically.
What they can teach, but also most importantly, how they engage their students and how their students feel cared for and how the students believe they can actually achieve academically through that relational aspect, but also how they're outside of the classroom, how the teachers' well-being and their emotional intelligence affects school ethos and school culture, and therein creates a positive or more of a negative kind of toxic potentially environment, which no one wants to be surrounded by toxicity. And this is one of the things that came to light that teachers needed work on their own well-being, their own understanding of positive psychology, how to build it as their own skill, and how to take it into the classroom.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah, and it's actually now been adopted in lots of schools in Australia, and I'm sure more broadly as well. This concept of positive education, using positive psychology theory, but also integrating it into learning and, of course, the leadership, because it starts at the top and you do want it kind of going through every layer as well, right down to the cleaners, anyone that's in the school. Yeah, everyone impacts everybody else. So that was another aspect that came out of it.
Definitely could use a lot of that knowledge in the American public school system. Because I think there is a lot of like teachers are just kind of they're not really paid or taken care of that great. And so it is just kind of like let's get whoever we can get to teach the kids. They don't think about how teaching the teachers is important as well.
Yeah, well, I've heard quite a few teachers in my time complain about students and even some that don't seem to like the students. And I think, well, really, if you're not passionate about wanting to make a difference to the lives of young people and not passionate about your work, don't do it. Don't be in this career because it's too hard. You actually need to love it, I think.
The United States definitely is. I mean, when I went to school. I mean, I loved pretty much most of my teachers. I really loved them, but
Yeah.
things have gotten a little. It's also overblown in the press a bit. There are still a lot of beautiful teachers out there.
Oh, of course. And the beautiful thing is, Vernon, that students really only need to form some kind of connection with at least one teacher. And that can actually be really protective for mental health, well-being, their resilience, etc. And so that's a really important message. And it was something that I took on. If I can make a difference for just one student in each of my classes, then, I've done my job.
But it's interesting that you're doing that. Now that brings me to like your law. You got into law. Now
Yes.
that was so you got a you're now a lawyer admitted to the. Go. You could tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm actually spanning two careers. So when people say, "Oh, what do you do?" I usually say I'm not sure because I am an accredited teacher still, but I've also been admitted as a solicitor. So I've worked in four different law firms or for four jobs and had experience in probably 8 or 10 different areas of law. So litigation, property, cyber, insurance, criminal law. So done a lot of different things and also worked in a community law centre, which dealt with the asylum seekers. So that was immigration law, international law, etc. And had the opportunity, even though I'm very much at the beginning of this, to interact with lots of different types of people, people from different cultures, Vernon, and people obviously who need lots of different types of assistance. Also, education law, of course, because I've got a strong background there.
We had a guest on. I think I mentioned it to you earlier. Who was
You did.
his big he spent years in prison for really nonsense. I mean, it was just because he was black, and he got a 144-year sentence for being in the car of somebody who held up a liquor store with a BB gun. And
Oh, my
yeah, and
goodness.
they basically threw the book at him. It's insane to give this guy 144 years of prison. But he obviously was too smart. He's a wonderful person. And when he was in jail, he was able to get through it relatively unscathed. And
Okay.
the people in the jail were like the warden and the inmates were uh, he helped people. He was actually going to the library and helping guys get what do they call it, the paroles or what's
Oh, yes.
that nature. But his thing is about how the justice system is really just training criminals.
Absolutely.
They go in there and they come out worse. It doesn't. It's
Yeah.
it's not.
Yes.
Is it like that in Australia? What's it doing down there?
Uh, Sadly, yes. And of course, we have our own issues. We have a minority in the population, which is, of course, the Indigenous Australians. But sadly, in the Northern Territory, they do make up a very large proportion of people incarcerated. And it is a very sad indictment that very young, I'd call them children, are also in detention and make their way into the juvenile system and then the criminal system. And it is constantly in the news. And there are, in some parts of New South Wales, also jails which house a very high proportion of Aboriginal and Indigenous Australians, despite the fact I think they make up 4% of the population. And I don't want to quote the wrong figure, but they are making up a very, very high proportion of people who are incarcerated. And it is mirroring, I think, in some respects, the US situation.
It is. It is in fact. Um, what can we do? I mean, what can I mean? What I mean? I guess awareness, raising awareness, is the first thing that comes to my mind. That we as the taxpayers, if we know more and more about this happening and the degree to which it's happening, and also how it's not making anything better, and in fact, it's creating a criminal element. Like they become professional criminals, and they keep going back
Yeah.
to prison every so often. It's like they get used to it, and it's not working.
Yeah. And on the flip side, of course, crime is a huge political issue. People want to feel safe and they want to hear from their political leaders that, the arm of the law comes down heavy. So there is that side of it, but then there's the reality of what happens to these people. And as you rightly point out, for some it is the beginning of a cycle, which is a lifelong cycle. But yeah, circling back to what you told me about that person, I'm really pleased to hear that justice did prevail. But 144-year sentence, I mean, this sounds insane,
It is insane. It literally is.
completely insane that this could happen.
And that in a way, like his attitude invites, like I like when we're talking about out of the blue, when you have the positive attitude and you are curious and you work in your mind, then you will out of the blue things work in your favor. You will find
Yeah,
things. It seems to me that's like I don't know if you. I find that in my life it's true, and I'm hearing you say your life, and it just validates that for me. You've had a lot of out of the blue events coming because you yourself have this positive outlook on life, and you want to learn. You're curious.
yeah, I think too, seeking things out and having grit. I went with my sister and her son over to the Netherlands, and we were in the town that my father had grown up in, and he had a childhood. My father has passed away, and he had a childhood friend, and I was determined that we needed to meet this friend, and what's more, to explain what had happened with my father, but to connect him with my stepsister in Melbourne. And so, look, long story short, I found the street, I found the house, and I had said to my sister, I'm going in. She said, "What?" And I said, "No, no, no, I'm going in. I'm going to find this friend." And I knocked on the door and no one answered. So I was bold enough to go to the back, and the gentleman was there. This is after 40 years of I'd never met this person, and he didn't speak English, and I have just the odd word here and there in Dutch, but we managed to communicate. I was showing photos. And yeah, that was incredible. So sometimes I think you've just got to be a bit bold and a bit brazen and a bit dogged.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just if you want to do something, um, because that's right. The other thing that day was my sister said, right, we're on our way to wherever it was. We've got 15 minutes. So if you want to try and find Dad's childhood friend, we'll go to the street. And she wouldn't go into the house. I said, I'm going in. No answer. I came out and I said, no answer. I'm going to the back. She said, what? Just get in. Uh, and then later I thought, okay, that's both a strength, but maybe at times it can be also something to be careful of, just being, absolutely stubborn.
Absolutely. There's a lot to
Yeah,
be said for being safe. But I think, in a way,
yeah,
you're kind of guided by, the goodness of your intent. I think kind of
absolutely.
protects you a little bit, as far as I'm concerned.
But I think the other reason, Vernon, I've done what I've done is my family influence. So my father immigrated to Australia as a 17-year-old. He left school as a 14-year-old and worked 6 days a week in a furniture factory, taught himself English through the BBC, and actually was a kitchen hand on a boat. And I think he took up running as a veteran. And my sister and I used to go running with men, cross country training, and I never thought anything of it. So I never had this sense of I'm a female, I can't do this, or there's an age thing. And a lot of those things for me were kind of just not there. And obviously, as an adult, I'm very aware of these factors. But what it did for me, given his background and his lack of education, it made me really quite hungry to embrace opportunities and to chase them, to chase them.
That's a beautiful thing. As a matter of fact, you made me think of our I think our mutual friend Rusty.
Oh,
Rusty, Rusty
yeah.
wanted me to say hi for him, so he's saying hi.
Yeah, no, he is hello. He's incredible.
Yeah,
And I do see his posts every single day. He's out there, and is it 500,000 miles he's now walked?
something like that. He's been around the world 3 times around the equator. That's what it adds
No,
up to.
it is an incredible feat. And look, he's such an inspiring person, and we have spoken on the phone, and he's an absolute delight. So
He really is. Yeah,
thank you, Rusty.
I'm proud to call him my friend. He's a real good guy. You were you swam around the Greek islands. That's going to be a hell of a thing to do.
Uh, well, I started ocean swimming in 2016, and obviously as a child I was proficient, but only really pool swimming and playing. But the reason I got involved in this is due to an organisation called Can2. So Can2 is a charity here in Sydney, and it raises funds for cancer research of early career scientists to find better ways to manage cancer. So I got involved in both the running, the swimming, the trail running, the kayaking, the singing. I've basically done everything. I'm an all or nothing person, but ocean swimming started in 2016. And I do remember the first year at Bondi Beach when we were going in each Saturday. It was both in fear but delight, screaming, you know, with the waves, I mean. And also there's the S word, which we're not meant to say, SHARK. So after a year of doing ocean swimming and achieving the 1K swim, I was made captain of the next group that went through the next year. So I thought I've got to stop screaming first of all, and I've got to kind of manage that. So eventually I stopped thinking about that, but just accept they're there all the time. But I've just kind of worked on it the same as you do in anything. It's a process to build up your confidence and obviously to train and raise funds for cancer. But yes, last year I did have the opportunity to again go with Camp 2 to the Greek islands. And we were swimming, I think, 5K each day over a week, but not all in one go. It was maybe 3K, 1K, 1K. There were 3 swims a day, but it was a lot. I think the last day I actually felt seasick.
Now, why did you raising funds for cancer? Is that anything personal about that, or?
Look, it started out, I just, after my PhD, thought I need to get out, I need to get exercising again. And at the beginning, it was that. And part of being in Can2 is that you must raise a certain amount of money. But what happened shortly after that time, Vernon, my father was diagnosed with cancer, and that's when it became very personal.
Really?
So for 10 years, he lived with cancer, and it was bladder cancer. And at one point, he thought he was clear, but then it came back, etc. Then, within the space of 5 years, he passed. Both my parents-in-law, as well, passed from cancer, and I lost a couple of other people. But the 3 people from cancer meant, yes, it like a lot of people in Cantu who either have cancer themselves or have a close family or friend. These days, pretty much everybody knows someone who's got cancer
Yeah.
or has passed. So
I
yes, it did become personal.
Yeah. Well, I very much appreciate what you're doing. I am a cancer survivor myself,
Oh,
and yeah, I
what
can tell
form
you
of
that
cancer?
I had leukemia.
You have it now.
No, I don't have
Oh,
it now.
you're a
I did
survivor.
survive it. Yeah. And it was not a fun trip, let me tell you. It was very
Oh,
terrifying, and a lot of,
absolutely.
when I saw a lot of people that didn't make it, um, one of the reasons I started out of the blue was because when I was in the hospital, I was there for like a long time, and I would walk
Mm.
around the ward, the quad they call it, and carrying the pole, with the stuff hanging, and the drips into your blood, intravenous.
Oh, yes.
And I would walk around the quad to get exercise, and I would stop and see the people in the different rooms, and the ones who were surviving and even thriving, getting through the treatment, and they would end up walking out of there. Well, the ones who had people in their lives, they had connection. They weren't alone. The ones who did not survive, sadly, when I went
Mm.
by to see them, they would never have a visitor. They were
Oh my
never on the
gosh.
phone,
Yeah.
and they just got so, circling the drain, and then they give up hope. And cancer's a rough ride, and without the love of family. That's why I did Out of the Blue. The first few guests we had was about cancer. It was about people who survived it and turned to surviving cancer into thriving. They found
Yeah. Yeah.
our motto of Out of the Blue is finding the way forward. So we've had, people with all sorts of trauma. And then we have people that we had a trauma expert on, as a matter of fact, too. But
Yes.
but it's really more what's interesting to me about you is not only are you did this all that you're also representing cancer, really, and that's something wonderful. And
Yes. Yep.
but you said in emotional intelligence a little while back that one of the things about emotional intelligence is resilience.
Absolutely.
We Out of the Blue call ourselves, we're starting the resilience movement because we do think that it is something that we need to become more aware of. That the
Mm.
resilience is the name of the game if you're a human being in this crazy world, really, with things happen seemingly out of the blue, that we don't know what's going to happen. It's
So,
so random, it's chaos. But when we connect, we can take that chaos and make it more like it's purposeful. Like I noticed things come out of the blue for me. I look behind there. There's always some sort of good intent coming through that event. That's what I try to find that when I find guests. And I think with you, you are a perfect example of that. Like all those things that happen to you to get on your way to getting sick, count them 6 degrees. You had a lot of out of the blue things happen to you. And that's just wonderful. And people are going to understand how to resonate with that, because that's what I think we want you to. That's why I better shut up. I want you to talk because I want people to hear the person who's got all this. They've heard enough from
Well,
me.
I think sometimes we need to remember that in the messiness is the clarity, and getting through the messiness of life and things that are going on a daily basis. Sometimes we can't see the out of the blue uh, level to it, but it emerges at some point in the future. But yeah, using these resilience skills, so self-talk, growth mindset, mindfulness. Some people, call it, oh, I'm forgetting the term, when you attract what you,
Manifesting?
yes, a lot of people are into this. I do believe in chasing after things, but I think you need, it's not just going to happen. You have to take action.
Yes,
And I
that's it.
think gratitude is a big one, and being optimistic.
Gratitude. I've been writing a lot about gratitude lately. I definitely have.
So there's a whole suite of things that I kind of subscribe to, and I think there's a spiritual level to everything as well.
Absolutely.
Mm.
We really, I really believe that's the component. I was speaking to someone earlier about the spiritual level, or the people that believe in God, people who are agnostic, and I said,
Yeah,
well, my opinion is that really what you need to do is raise your own sense of good or right, and as you
some
raise your
people
sense,
refer to that as the vibration,
that's just the
raise
vibration,
your
right?
vibration. Yeah,
And as you raise the sense of good in your own consciousness, right? That determines how things come to you, manifesting goodness and advent of good things in your life. And I said, if someone could tell me they believe in God, but their highest sense of good is around here. And then I see a guy who's an atheist, and he's got a higher sense of good. So I don't care I really don't care if a person tells me they're a believer or a non-believer. Show me,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's through actions, isn't it?
It is through actions. And you can look at you. I mean, that's why I'm still looking forward to talking to you. All the achievements you have done. I knew there's a powerhouse here of something, a Promethean flame of some kind that is burning and
But
coming out.
one of the things, Vernon, I don't really stop to dwell on them. So that's why your introduction was helpful. It reminded me. I just kind of make sure I surround myself with the right people, try to eliminate the physical clutter, the noise around me,
I
and
hear
make
that. Yeah.
sure I am, defying age is another one of my things. Do not be defined by your age. So just applying a certain kind of set of principles which are working for me. And it does include sleep, nutrition, physical activity, some kind of pillars around physical well-being.
What are the
Uh,
pillars? What are those pillars for you?
yeah, well, as I said, sleep,
Sleep,
nutrition,
nutrition,
hydration, physical,
hydration, water.
yeah, yes. Yes, physical activity.
a little
And
a little plug for our merch.
yeah, that is a great one. And then, of course, there's laughter, you know. And
Absolutely.
the other thing I really also enjoy is meeting strangers and helping people. So looking for opportunities to help people without expecting anything back, Vernon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Vernon and I are both musicians, and we
amazing.
and now you do that for the same thing. You really want to play. You play for strangers. You don't play. You don't gather just your friends. You're playing for strangers, and
Yeah,
you're bringing something of your inside joy out. And and I used to do it as a kid when I did play music. I started because it made me feel better. I mean, I had to deal with my stuff at home. My dad was a bit of a drunk, and life was a little tough at the home. So when I got out and I played music, I was able to like get out of myself and help people with my music.
it's good for the soul and the spirit and brings joy. not only to yourself, but those around you. And the other thing I would add to that kind of list I mentioned before is keep challenging yourself and keep growing, learning,
Keep
and
challenging yourself. Keep
yeah, and
challenging
do
yourself.
not
That's a big one.
think that you can't learn from older, younger people. Be open to learning from everybody.
Oh my goodness, you're speaking my language, Michelle. This is exactly what I mean, I have my son who's my co-host. My daughter, my oldest daughter is also a co-host, and my youngest daughter is also, and I learn more from them. They keep me, oh, I have to stay
Keep you grounded.
curious, and keep me
Yeah,
grounded. They definitely do. And yeah, you can't stop learning. You just got to keep
right.
learning. I'm very
So
curious,
look, yeah, I am all done with formal learning.
Right. But
Like,
I mean, learning in life is,
of course,
you know,
yeah, on a daily basis.
right. I love it. Yeah. In a way, that's called that's how out of the blue works. If things come to you out of the blue and you follow up with it and learn from it, it seems
Yeah,
like you're priming the pump. More
yes,
things, more things come into your life from out of the blue because it feels like,
absolutely.
you're a worthy listener. So it's going to talk to you. It brings you more of
Great.
that stuff.
Thanks, Vernon.
It's like having a conversation with the universal mind or something, you know, if there
Yeah,
is such
and sorry, we've got a bit of a time lag, so I keep almost talking over you because, yeah, our timing, given we're on opposite, different parts of the world. So apologies, I'm not meaning to do that,
Oh
of
no, don't
course.
worry. It's probably me talking too much. I wouldn't I do that too, but don't worry. Um,
Yeah.
so we're getting near our ending, and like what I want to like sum up and tell us where you are now, where your life is, where you are right now, Michelle, and Dr. Michelle Nemec.
Well, I'm exploring keynote speaking, and I've been fortunate to go around the world as a keynote speaker and be paid to do it at times. I'm also keen to explore the physicality, and behind all of this, of course, is human connection, friendships, family, etc. So I'm also keen to explore new things, and learning languages is something I'm keen on, and a lot more travel. But look, I don't know because every day is a new adventure with boundless opportunities.
I love it.
So, so just embrace it and run with it. Um, yeah, that's about it for the moment.
I want to say that this has been a very eruditious edition of Out of the Blue, and I've learned a lot. How about you, Vernon? Would you get any questions from Michelle before we say bye?
Um, I mean, I had some, but then they all ended up getting answered. Like, I'm just very curious about like how you became such a disciplined person. Like at there any was there any point through your upbringing or like your young adult phase as the representative of the young dummies out there? Like, was there any point that you felt, I guess, obstacles that brought you to this level of strength? Because it seems like you are like the Wonder Woman chirp makes sense now. You are a superhero.
That's one of my nicknames. There's certain friends that call me that as a term of endearment, let's say.
Well, it
Sure, I mean
fits.
it makes sense. You're very inspiring. And
Oh, thank you,
like
Vernon.
so like yeah, I don't know. I think we all aspire to have that level of structure and
Mm, mm.
consistency in our lives. And I feel like it's not something that you just wake up doing. You have to, it's hard earned. So I'm just curious, I guess, about that. But that could be a whole other podcast as well.
Absolutely. All I can say is I am atypical. I've never kind of just run with the crowd. I'm not conventional in some respects. And I've always been quite driven. As a young child, I was like that. So it is something that's in me, but obviously there's a whole skill set that you learn as well, going through different experiences and overcoming things. But yeah, that's another whole podcast.
Yeah. But definitely, boy, Michelle, it's amazing because I can relate to this, Vernon. I'm telling you, when I was young, I was driven. I don't know why. It's just
Mm,
something you just feel that at a young age. I was like, I was the president of my classes going through school. I was just driven. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't really know why. Maybe because I liked it. I loved it. I wanted to learn more. I don't know. I just wanted
Yeah,
to
I was the same.
experience more.
Sure.
Mm.
I mean, as someone who I think when I was younger had a drive, and then I guess times have brought certain obstacles. I think COVID, I think social media, these things that have sort of m- made, if I don't know, it's made it easy to compare, and it's made it easy to get bogged down by societal pressures, or like hearing, I guess, about, I don't know, people's accolades, and feeling like it's difficult yourself to reach those certain heights because you're seeing, I guess, like the highest of the highs all around you all the time.
I was going to say, look, at many points, imposter's syndrome has kicked in, and none more so than when I was doing the PhD, this kind of, well, who did you think you were to actually believe you could do this? And it does get tough, and you would know from being a musician, you do need to find a way through that and just kind of stick with something, not give up. I mean, how long is it guitar you play, Vernon, or what's your,
I am a singer-songwriter,
oh,
guitarist, and
oh,
I played drums in 3 bands. So
oh,
I'm
that's
busy.
incredible. See, you're a high achiever as well.
The thing about high
Do what I
achievement,
can.
you know what I was going to say about high achievement, Vernon,
People.
and Michelle already said it earlier. When I read her introduction, she doesn't even think about it. It's like
I don't think.
you really don't think about what you've done. When someone reads it out to you and you go, wow, I did all that. It's like you don't really think of it. You just keep doing it. And
Just
Sure.
keep
someday,
looking at new
yeah,
things.
someday someone's going to read an intro about you and they're going to go, wow, I did all that. Yeah, you did.
Sure. Yeah. No, yeah, and I definitely appreciate the mindset of actually following up on the suggestions and inspirations that other people give you. Because it is easy to say, like, oh, yeah, yeah, I guess I don't really know about that. Anyway,
Or
back
I'll
on
do
with
it
my day.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do it next week. Well, how
Right.
about now?
Yeah, and that's what I think the beauty of it is that by doing that, you're priming the pump. You're keeping that stuff coming, and it will
Hmm,
continue to come when you do it.
absolutely.
And it is one of those things. You do just need to be a driven person and commit to the thing. So I have no doubt if you wanted to, you could pick up a tuba and
Oh,
whatever, whatever your instrument. It
yeah,
just takes a lot of work.
Yeah,
I think it's about the desire and the motivation and persistence.
that's what it is. Yeah,
100%.
that's it. Well, we'll leave them on that one. Say that. What was that again? Motivation and persistence. Say that again for us.
Motivation, desire, and persistence.
There you go. Motivation, desire, and persistence. And you epitomize that, Michelle Nemec, Dr. Michelle Nemec
Oh,
of
thanks, Vernon.
Sydney, Australia. And thank you for joining us here on Out of the Blue, the podcast. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And thank you, Vernon, my co-host. And thank you again, Michelle. It's been a lovely experience. I hope we'll talk again. I'll be definitely in touch when we get ready to go live with this. So
Pleasure.
your pleasure's really pleasure's ours. And welcome to the Out of the Blue family, by the way. Once
Oh,
you're in it,
thanks, Vernon.
once you're in it, you're in it.
Perfect. Love
All
it.
right. All right. I'll talk to you soon. And
Okay.
bye, everybody. Out of the Blue, the podcast, hosted by me, Vernon West, co-hosted by Vernon West III, edited by Joe Gallo, music and logo by Vernon West III. Have an Out of the Blue story of your own you'd like to share? Reach us at info@outoftheblue-thepodcast.org. Subscribe to Out of the Blue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and on our website, outoftheblue-thepodcast.org.